Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of Andy's Humble Opinions series, in which I look at the Humble weekly bundles. This week's bundle is J. Suis Charlie. I've probably butchered that name, and it is in support of Freedom of the Press Foundation. And the first game on the list is Typewriter, a physics puzzle game slash educational game. I would say that it's like an edu game, in which you play kind of like the two dots on the keyboard. I completely forget what they're called, and you kind of roll around in this environment made entirely of typefaces and different types of fonts and things like that. And I'm not even gonna lie, it is a very, very pretty game. It is absolutely stunning. And as you're kind of rolling around, you're kind of getting immersed in this, what starts out just looking like a kind of environment made up of standard, like in the standard way. But as you start jumping around and moving around and the camera starts like pulling out and moving back in again, you start realizing that it's made up of like typefaces and things like that. It's absolutely gorgeous. Now, on top of that, it feels like you're actually exploring kind of typeface history, especially as you kind of unlock secrets and things like that. It gives you this information. It kind of shows you in kind of very lengthy text about the evolution of language from, you know, basic pictograms all the way to kind of Gothic to what we know now. And it gives you that like information as you explore the environment and as you pick up these hidden secrets, and you learn quite a lot about the evolution of type and the evolution of the written word. Now, I absolutely adore it. I think it's fantastic. I love these games' way of kind of, because there's another one, I can't remember what it's called. I think it's Never Alone. That was it. And that one gives you the same thing. You explore the environment, and as you pick up pieces of equipment and things like that, you have the capacity to learn about a culture and stuff. So I really love the fact that with this, it's about language and the written word. Now, when I loaded it up, I realized that it was running in a kind of strange aspect ratio. It was running in a weird resolution. And I went into the options, and I kind of checked it out, and I was like, okay, fair enough, it's running in a weird resolution. So I'll just change said resolution. So I changed it from whatever it was running. It wasn't 1080, it was sub 1080, and then I changed it to 720 because it would work better in the video, because it was a 16:9 aspect ratio. As soon as I did that, the freaking game just started acting a little bit weird, like started flickering on and off, and then it just went straight to my desktop. But it didn't crash, it just minimized straight to my desktop. Just like, okay, I'll just load it back up again, just click on the thing. Clicked on the thing. Lo and behold, it comes up, and I start trying to do stuff, and as soon as I press a freaking key, it dumps me back to my desktop. I'm like, well, fair enough. Let's just try uninstalling the game, reinstalling the game, so we can get rid of the settings, and then I'll restart my computer on top of it, just in case it was something to do with my computer and not the game. That seemed to fix it. I'm not entirely sure what was going on there, but it was a little bit weird. But as far as the game goes, I really love this puzzle game, kind of exploring typography, right up my alley. I really enjoyed it, and I'm going to keep playing it until I finished it, I think, because I love these little puzzle games and how much fun you can actually have with them. And the next game is Finding Teddy, a point-and-click adventure game, which has absolutely lovely puzzles, beautiful music, and I think it looks really nice as well. Now, what I noticed kind of playing it was the kind of thematic element that was jumping out at me, this kind of childlike wonder of a kind of fantastical environment, was something that I kind of really enjoyed. Basically, the way that you play is you go through and you have to attempt to help these creatures who will in turn help you. So like the puzzle right at the beginning, you go to the right of the screen, you pick up a berry, you go to the left of the screen, you give the berry to a creature who steps out of your way so that you can continue exploring the environment. Now, I love that because it's kind of got this almost, like I said, childlike way of thinking, you know. There's a creature here, I gotta give him something and then he'll move out of my way. You know, it's very kind of simple, but then later on it starts getting a little bit more complex where you gotta implore the help of other creatures. Like I had to water a flower, and then the bee pollinated that flower, made it into a proper flower, and then gave me a saw because of it. Really strange. I don't know where that came from. Like the saw just comes out of the bee's backside and there it is. And then I had to go cut down a thing, a little bit of a twig, and then I had to use that twig to get the help of a little fly, who then gave me the help to get a feather, and then I had to take that feather all the way to another area where that guy then was giving me a puzzle. Now, one thing that I did notice that I was really struggling with is the fact that it was some of the puzzles are music based. The one that I was really struggling with was the fact that there was a totem pole that you give the feather to, and he starts singing a bunch of notes. Now, I don't know how important those notes were, but I felt like they were very important, so much so that I brought down this kind of musical interface from the top and attempted to kind of pitch perfect figure out what notes he was singing. And I was really struggling with it because I'm not musically inclined in any way. I don't know if I'm tone deaf, but I definitely cannot. I was really struggling with that puzzle because I just couldn't pick up on the subtleties of the sounds, and I couldn't figure out where to place them. It was starting to really frustrate me. So I really struggled with that. But to be honest, I'm probably going to go back and attempt to do it, maybe with the help of a wiki or something like that, just so that I can get past that bit, because I feel like the game gives me so much, like I said, childlike wonder and joy out of it that I want to explore a little bit more. But obviously it's a struggle when you cannot complete one of the puzzles. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to go and take a good look at kind of completing that puzzle. But otherwise, it's a lovely little game that I was struggling with because of like my own, not necessarily ineptitude, but inability to figure out, you know, the musical notation and things like that it presents to you. But otherwise, it's an absolutely fantastic game. Okay, and the next game in the Pay What You Want bundle bracket is Little Big Adventure. Now, this is for an Android device. Now, unfortunately, nobody in my household, nor myself, own an Android device, so I couldn't actually test this game out, and I never played Little Big Adventure, even though I hear a lot of people kind of talk about it and kind of say that it's a really, really, really good game. Unfortunately, like I said, I've not been able to test it out on the Android platform, and I've not ever actually played it, so I can't put my opinion down on it, unfortunately. Now, I think that the other two games are worth picking up on their own for the Pay What You Want bracket. So, in all fairness, getting Little Big Adventure, and if you've got an Android device and trying it out, would be well worth giving a go. And also, if you've got any opinions on it, leave them down in the comment section down below so that other people can kind of formulate their own opinion as well and see if whether or not it's worth picking up. And now we get on to my favorite section, the one where you have to pay a certain percentage, a certain amount to get everything in the game, and this time it is $6. And the first game in that bracket is Far Sky. Now, this is a survival simulation game, but underwater. Now, you play as a character who was kind of just doing some standard Submariner type stuff, you know, exploring the shipwrecks under the water, you know, looking at the fish and stuff like that in a very old style diving suit. And he either gets, you know, disconnected from that, or his submarine crashes, or what. I think it's a submarine crash because you have to find pieces of it. And he has to attempt to survive till he can find all the pieces of submarine and reach safety. And in order to find all the pieces, you have to go deeper and deeper and deeper underwater in order to succeed at that. Now, I thoroughly enjoy survival games. I really, really love them because I think it taps into something of a kind of wild man side of me. I want to be able to turn around and go like, yes, I can survive 1,000,000 days on jellyfish jelly. Yes, underwater. Ha! That's what I'm kind of looking for. And I think this game does it really, really well. It's a fantastic little kind of underwater survival sim. And it's like, I think it's the only one that I've ever actually seen. Now, it's got a bit more of a cartoony style, a little bit more cartoony vibe. Now, I recently looked into a game called Stranded Deep, and that underwater environment looked absolutely stunning. But in a realistic fashion, this is the antithesis to that. It's a very kind of cartoony game. And I think, to be fair, both of them have their merits, but I really like this one because of the fact that you spend a lot of time underwater, and it's kind of terrifying because, like I said, in order to explore further, you have to go deeper and get more stuff and new stuff. And having to jump from that comfortable space that you found yourself in to the darkness below, and then not knowing whether or not your suit will hold all the way down is utterly petrifying. Like, it's a leap of faith, a genuine leap of faith to do that. Now, I will say that I did find it kind of not, I don't want to say boring, because boring denotes that I didn't enjoy my time with it. I'm really enjoying my time with it. I still play it, but I found it very relaxing. Like, the music and things like that was very, very relaxing. I didn't really feel ultimately challenged by the game. All I felt was that, you know, I was going to get hungry very quickly. I'd have to go out, kill a couple of fish, come back and cook the food. You know, that was kind of it. Now, the challenge, I think, might come as you go deeper and deeper, because I did reach, I think, about 350 feet down, and there was krakens down there that were defending a certain deposit of something that I wanted. I did die, but I didn't go down prepared, and it was really stupid of me because I didn't realize that was what the kind of other character was referring to over the radio. So I was kind of like, I jumped in a little unprepared on that one. Now, the enemies, they tend to behave in a very similar fashion to each other. When you shoot one, it will get aggroed, it will come towards you, and then you shoot it again and it will forget about attacking you, and then it'll try and surprise attack you again. All the enemies behave that way, except for, like I said, the Kraken, which defended a specific deposit, and the moment you try to take that deposit from it, it attacked you. But it attacked you in the same way as it attacked you, swam away, came back and attacked you unless you hit it, which, like, confused it, and then it swam away and then came back at you. Now, that's kind of pretty much everything that I've got on that game. I really enjoy it. I'm having a lot of fun with it, but I felt like, actually, one of the other things that I did actually struggle with is the building mechanic. It takes some getting used to. I demolished accidentally my base completely because I thought all I was doing was like taking out floors or what have you. I demolished pretty much all my base and made it look ugly, and then had no way of repairing it or undoing what I had done. So I had to restart. But then once I restarted and I played around with the build mechanic, it started making a lot more sense, and I started understanding exactly what it is that I was supposed to be doing. So once you get your kind of head around it, it makes a lot of sense. So that's Far Sky. It's a great little kind of underwater survival game, if that's something that you've been looking for. And the final game on the list today is Strike Vector, a very strange kind of shoot 'em up, flying shoot 'em up, where you play as this kind of Harrier jump jet type futuristic plane, which can switch between two modes, which is the main mechanic within the game. Is you can switch between two modes. You can switch between like plane mode, and then you can switch into Harrier mode. Now, plane mode is very kind of fast, it's nimble, you know, you get around and stuff like that. Whereas Harrier mode is a little slower, and it's meant for like very, very tight places where you can't move around. And the mechanic is that when you switch between the two, so like when you go from plane mode to Harrier mode, your plane stops very, very quickly and allows you to turn on a dime. So the idea is like in combat, you wouldn't fly around just in plane mode shooting people. You would fly around and then suddenly switch into Harrier mode, twist around, and unleash your Gatling guns whilst still moving backwards, and then switch back again and then fly straight towards them and then out of their shooting range, and then do the same thing again. Or at the same time, you know, kind of use it to stop yourself from receiving, like, crashing into something or receiving crashing damage and things like that. You know, it's a great little mechanic. Now, weirdly enough, when I started this game, it wanted to start in 800 by 600 windowed. Now, I've not used 800 by 600 as a resolution since frickin' out. I was like hella young. So I felt like it was really weird that this game was starting in 800 by 600 windowed. I had to set it to 1080 full screen, and then after that everything was working perfectly fine, unlike in Typewriter where it was starting to acting weird. And I gotta admit, I really enjoyed this game. Unfortunately, for a multiplayer only game, it has some single player elements where, you know, it's primarily training and stuff like that, getting you used to playing the game, and then it would put you into the multiplayer. There were no games. When I checked, there were no games over maybe one person playing. I was lucky I got into one because I think people realized and then just pulled themselves into one game. I realized that I joined in a game and I was lucky to do so where there was more than one person in there. But when I was playing, I was utterly terrible. I spent most of my time crashing, but I thoroughly enjoyed the experience, and I feel like the control mechanics and everything like that, and the switching between the two modes is an absolutely fantastic mechanic. I gotta admit, it's a really good game. And the final thing on this list is an audiobook called Homeland. Now, I'm not even going to pretend. I'm not going to lie to you, not listen to the audiobook. I don't tend to do audiobooks. I like to kind of read more than I do audiobooks. But it's there. It's in the thing. If you're already going to be spending money, like $6 on it, you've got yourself an audiobook right there. But if anybody has listened to it or has read the book that it's based on and has an opinion on it, leave them in the comment section down below and kind of give us your feedback on it and like tell us what it's about and what it's like. But otherwise, that is everything within this week's Humble Bundle. I hope that you've enjoyed this video, and I hope that you run it over and at least consider some of the games that are available in this bundle. So I have been Andy, you've been awesome, thank you very much for watching, and I will catch you guys next time. Goodbye.